Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. So we recently got anniversary and we already have the rewards distributed to everyone. So the tier 4 has been distributed, which I already made a video about it in case you haven't seen it. And today we got a tier 3 selector, which you get for free, like directly from level 1. So today we'll be talking about the tier 3 one, and tomorrow we're going to be discussing the tier 2 premium character, since I know that most of you does not have it already. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the tier 3 selector. So for the tier 3 selector, I'll be going and moving on to each and every one of the characters and telling you why you should take it or not take it. So the first character, which is Venom. I do recommend you taking him, however he is in the tier 4 selector, so in case you already had him there, then you can skip him here. However, otherwise you should take him on the tier 3 in case you do not have him. Storm is also a really good support character. I forgot to mention that Venom would be perfect for World Boss Legends and Alliance Battle Extreme and Legends, so do keep that in mind. Storm is a really good support character. She was also in the selector yesterday, so if you already took her, then you do not need to take her here. However, otherwise, if you did not take her, then she would be a great support. However, do keep in mind that her uniform is a seasonal. So yeah, that is for the second character. The next character, it is obviously Gwenpool, and she's already an instant yes. She's really good for Alliance Battle Extreme and Legend, and World Boss Legends. So I do highly recommend you get Gwenpool. She was not in the tier 4 selector, so I do recommend you take her at tier 3 if you do not have her at tier 3. The next character, it is Kingpin. I also do highly recommend you getting him because he did replace Hulk in Alliance Battle Extreme and Legend and basically everywhere else, including World Boss Legends. So I do highly recommend you taking Kingpin, and he's a really good World Boss Legend character and can score high in Alliance Battle. The next character, it is Black Panther. Now, obviously he would be a skip since he's not really meta anymore. So yeah, do not take Black Panther, he's not really meta anymore, and I do not recommend you getting Black Panther. The next character, it is Captain Marvel. Now Captain Marvel, I do recommend you getting her. She's really good for Alliance Battle Extreme and Legends and also World Boss Legends. So she will be very good for you, and I do highly recommend you taking her. The next character, it is Green Goblin. Now Green Goblin, I do also recommend you to take him because he is a support character. He's really good and he gives support to other villain allies. So I do highly recommend you get his newest uniform as well, and he will be a perfect support. The next character, it is Daredevil. Now Daredevil doesn't really need much of an introduction. He is an instant skip. He is not really good in PvP either, so he would be an instant skip. So yeah. The next character, it is Thor. Now if you're a new player, you would already have Thor with a uniform already given to you for free and on tier 2. So Thor would also be a good contender for whether you're a veteran or not. He's really good. I do recommend you getting him. However, if you already got him from the tier 4 selector of yesterday, then you do not need Thor for the tier 3. So yeah. The next character, it is Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is really good. His tier 4 is also great for Alliance Battle Extreme and Legend and World Boss Legends. So if you want a very good character, then you can also get Ghost Rider. However, do keep in mind that his uniform is also a seasonal. So I forgot to also mention that Thor can do World Boss Legends plus very good. So that's why I also do highly recommend him. The next character, it is Scarlet Spider. I also recommend you getting Scarlet Spider because he also does have a good support that you can go ahead and give. If I'm not mistaken, it is for Spider-Man allies. Yes, Spider-Man, Spider Senses. As you can see, villains 40%, heroes 35%, and skill damage by 25%. It's really good, and I do highly recommend you getting Scarlet Spider. The next character, it is Taskmaster. Now, Taskmaster, I also do highly recommend you getting him because he is a really good support, and on top of that, his new Thunderbolts uniform will be changed into a female. So he'll be a good male villain support and a female villain support. So if you want a good support, then I do highly recommend you getting Taskmaster. The next one is Morgan Le Fay. Now, she will also be a skip because her support is only on her seasonal, and I'm fairly certain that her seasonal already came and then left. Now you can obviously buy the seasonals nowadays because in the anniversary you can get the tickets, but most of you are not going to use it on her, so regardless, her support would be a skip anyways. The next character, it is Shuri. Now, she is an instant yes. She has a really good support. She's probably the best support that you can get in the game. So you can go ahead and get her newest Black Panther uniform. She's really good as a support. The next character, it is Rogue. Rogue is really good for Alliance Battle Extreme and Legend and World Boss Legends. I cannot be sure on Alliance Battle Extreme and Legends, though I've heard she is really good, but I know that she's great in World Boss Legends. So if you want a good character for that, then Rogue would be the perfect match. However, do keep in mind that her uniform is also a seasonal. So yeah. The next character, it is Cyclops. Cyclops is also really good support. You can go ahead and use him as a support, and he also has his newest uniform, which is the modern one, if I'm not mistaken. And overall, he's a really good support, and I do also recommend you getting Cyclops if you need a support. The next character, it is Hela. Now, Hela is also really good, and she can be both a DPS and a support. So for DPS, you can use her in World Boss Legends. For support, you can use her for World Boss Legends as well, and Alliance Battle Extreme and Legends. And on top of that, you can use her on PvP as well. However, you're going to need her artifact, because her artifact has the same one as Wolverine, the Immortality one. So yeah, I do highly recommend you getting her if you want a really good World Boss Legends support or a World Boss Legends dealer. So yeah, I do highly recommend you getting her. The next character is Ancient One. Ancient One also got a new uniform recently, and he's also a really good support. So I do highly recommend you getting him. So yeah, he's a really good support, and I do highly recommend you getting him. The next character, it is Wong. Now, Wong, I also do recommend you getting him. He also has a really good support for, I think it was Magic Allies, if I'm not mistaken, for his newest uniform, the zombie one. So, regardless, the Wong uniform, it is really good. And I do highly recommend you getting his zombies uniform. It's really good. The next character is Shang-Chi. Now Shang-Chi is a skip. He's not really a good DPS, and I don't think he even has a tier 4, so he's also a skip. The next character, it is Squirrel Girl. Now Squirrel Girl is also another skip, since she also does not have a tier 4 either. So yeah, she's also another skip. The next character, it is Sharon. Now Sharon is really good. She's a great DPS, however do keep in mind that she's only good for World Boss Legends. Her newest uniform is a seasonal, however if you want to get her, then you can go ahead and get her Poseidon armor if you really want to use her but not get her newest seasonal, if you have another seasonal in mind. So yeah, you can go ahead and get her Poseidon armor, since it can also perform just about the same as her newest seasonal. So yeah. The next character, it is Sin. Now Sin also has a really good support. Her leadership gives you a basic attack increase, and she also has a tier 2 passive for villains, which is 55% basic damage dealt to boss types. So I do highly recommend you this. The supports that I listed are for her newest uniform. So yeah, I do highly recommend you getting Sin if you need a support. The next character, it is Jane Foster, and she doesn't really need much of an introduction. She's instantly a skip, no tier 4, and she's not really that great. The next character, it is Kamala, same reason, she's not really great for anything really. I think she used to be an option for the combat female day for Alliance Battle, but that recently got replaced by Crescent, so you would probably skip Miss Marvel. The next character, it is Miles Morales. Miles Morales, I do recommend him a lot, since he's still very, very good, and he is one of the only speed males that is really, really good nowadays, other than Falcon. I think Falcon is also good. We're going to get there in a moment. So yeah. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I do recommend you get him if you need a good Robust Legend character and a Alliance Battle Extreme Mad Legend. The next character, it is She-Hulk, and I do obviously recommend She-Hulk. She has a really good support, and overall she's really, really good. So if you need a really good support, then She-Hulk would do you wonders. The next character, it is Sister Grimm. She's instantly a skip. She's not really great at all. So yeah. The next character, it is Ant-Man. He dropped out of meta. He's not good at all, so I do not recommend you getting him. Next character, it is Elektra. She did get a new uniform and a new tier 4, however those are pretty bad, so she's also another skip. The next character, it is Black Bolt. Black Bolt is not really great either, and he basically got replaced, if you're not going to count this Inhumane, so he basically got replaced regardless, so he's also a skip. The next one, it is Punisher. He is also a skip, so yeah. The next one, it is the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier actually got a new uniform, and I think he's also getting another one for the Thunderbolts. So you basically can wait for the Thunderbolts to see if he's really good. But if you do not want to wait, then his latest is still very, very good for World Boss Legends and Alliance Battle. So yeah, I do highly recommend you getting Winter Soldier if you need a Alliance Battle character or a World Boss Legends. The next character, it is Falcon. Falcon is he's good, but he's not better than Miles Morales, which is why I'm not going to recommend you getting him if you want a speed hero. You would be better off at getting Miles. The next character, it is Vision. Vision is not good. He's an instant skip. War Machine. War Machine is also a skip. That's right, he does have a support. However, the support is very, very minimal. It's only for machine tag allies, and we do not have a lot of them. So he's basically going to be a skip. The next character, it is Hawkeye. He's also a skip. He's not meta. MODOK, same reason. He's not meta, and he's not really good, so he's also another skip. Loki. Now, Loki, I will say that you will skip him, because that's right, he is really, really, really good for Alliance Battle Extreme Mad Legends. However, you gotta keep in mind that to get the same score that you see on people's reviews, you are going to need a stacked build on Loki. Preferably a Brilliant Rage, a 6-star artifact, his newest uniform on Mythic. He will cost you a lot of resources, so he would be an instant skip. The next character, it is Ultron, and he's also another skip since he's not really good. Groot is also another skip that you can go ahead and leave. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is actually really, really good, and he can perform he can perform amazingly for PvP, specifically Otherworld Battle. He can be really, really good for that. With his newest Venom, I can't exactly remember what was the name, but it's his symbiote seat, as his symbiote uniform. So yeah. The next character, it is Black Widow. She is also a skip because, that's right, she also has a symbiote suit. However, Spider-Man is better than Black Widow on PvP. Blade is also another skip, and Rocket Raccoon is another skip. Now the last three are all recommended. Iron Man for World Boss Legends, Hulk for Alliance Battle, and Captain America for World Boss Legends. So yeah, you can take one of these three depending on what you need. However, do keep in mind they're also in the Tier 4 selector in case you're looking to Tier 4 one of them. However, the Tier 4 selector, I already mentioned that Venom would be your best option. So yeah, that was all for the Tier 3 selectors. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you an image here. This image would show you specifically which ones you're going to need, you're going to be able to pick which ones are good and so on. So you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, that was all for today's video. If you have enjoyed it, please do let me know and subscribe, leave a like, and leave down a comment down below telling me which ones you're going to take and why. So yeah guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.